Say hello, Tom. Tom Bombadil, everyone, here to say hello, and also I got his face. Hello, my friends. It is the 23rd of December, which means that for a lot of you, you are on vacations, which I think is fantastic. I hope that you're having a lovely holiday. Um, Today is Misery Monday 2, so I thought that I would pop in and share what Enoch has given to me last week. Enoch may or may not be working during this week. It's unclear at this point, so we won't necessarily expect anything new to pop up this week for next Monday, but we'll see. And there's other things I can talk about next update. So let's take a look at the first 6 cards of the House of Wire. Now, the House of Wire, much like the House of Blades, was one of the steps of the 7-step grieving process. The House of Wire is the next step to this. That would mean that it is, after the shock and doubt and denial, we are now at pain and guilt, but also avoidance. This is the feeling that we are terrible, that we deserve the pain that we were dealt. It's the feeling that only pain will be enough to make us make up for what we've done or what has been done to us. It's a hard one, and I think the Suit of Wire explores it, I hope, in a way that is not just damning. The house of this suit here is the Wired Woods. It is where we fall into suffering. It is where we welcome the wire into our bodies. The art shows wire entering our hands, and we are not doing anything about it. We're accepting it happening. It is definitely the feeling that maybe we have to feel hurt to feel anything at all in this position. And that is kind of the overarching theme of the whole house here. The 0 is, of course, the folly of the suit. In our case here, it is the stitched mouth. It is the feeling that we should suffer in silence. Obviously, it's the folly, because if you are experiencing pain or you are wounded or hurt or traumatized, like you have to find a way to speak with other people about it. You have to learn to become able to talk about your pain, and that's not always an easy thing to do. So it is the 0 of the suit, the stitched mouth. I will also say that when Enoch turned in the stitched mouth, I get the cards originally in Discord, where I get to see them and give comments for any fixes. The stitched mouth jump scared me. I opened my phone and the first thing that was there was this big white face, these giant wide eyes, stitched mouth. It was legitimately scary. I jump scared myself. It was very funny. The one of each of our houses here is the portal. This is how we enter. This is kind of the deal you make to go in a way. Tom, stop it. If you're gonna be over here, at least be on camera. Jeez. So the portal for the House of Wire is the Winding Tunnel. This is the entry. It kind of looks like a nest from the outside. It's welcoming. It has this warm orange light. But when you're entering, aside from the fact that it's cutting you and stabbing you all the time, you see other people stuck in it. It should be a warning to stay out, but just like with the stitched mouth, where the idea is you should sew your lips and not tell people things, the Winding Tunnel, the whole concept of guilt and pain and dealing pain to ourselves, is very, very deeply tied to this idea that we have to go away now to do this thing, right? You go into this other place in your brain, and that's the Winding Tunnel. You go into this sharp, horrible nest to feel all of these things, because you know that if you tell other people, they'll want to do something or they'll change what you're feeling. And sometimes when you're feeling guilty, you don't think you deserve to be able to feel different. So the Winding Tunnel, as the portal to the House of Wire, is literally the space that takes us away from others. The 2 here is the Nemesis. Of course, that's true of all of the suits. And in our House of Wire here, the 2 is the Stitcher. The Stitcher is monstrous looking, for sure. But the Stitcher, the victims of the Stitcher don't feel like the Stitcher's monstrous. The Stitcher really stands in for like bad relationships, people who push you along on the guilt, or situations that you're in that put you there. It can also be substances that you use to cope with the guilt. It is a welcome friend who will weave us into the space. It is not good. The reason it's the nemesis here is because it is an enemy. It just doesn't feel like it when you're in that space. You have to be able to recognize it's a foe, or you won't be able to overcome it. And you'll let it kind of weave you into its web. The 3 of all the suits is the wound. It's how the suit hurts you. And in the House of Wire, R3 is the guilt thread. It's an exciting word that I made up. But yeah, the art for the guilt thread is someone pulling their own organs out and turning it into wire, which they are essentially taking their own lives. Not suicide, but taking their life and turning it into the wire that's hurting them. The way that guilt really hurts us is it makes us start viewing our lives in the lens of, oh, I've done this thing. I deserve to be punished for that. Oh, I'm like this, and because of that, I should feel guilty for it. And that's what this card represents. It's how we become self-destructive, to create more reasons to feel bad. And that just feeds into the guilt and the pain. And then we think, oh, we always take things the worst way. I deserve to feel bad. And it's a self-perpetuating cycle here, but it's literally turning your organs into the thing that hurts you. And the 4 of all the suits, the harmonic. This is where the suit or the house finds its like basis or its foundation. In the House of Wire, our 4 is the weaving. This is actually a very active card, for what we have to do with our pain and guilt. And it is, we have to lay it all out in front of us in order to understand what it means or what's in it. By weaving it and turning it into, a tapestry in front of us, we can find out what the patterns are. We can begin to understand why we've been doing what we've been doing and why we felt the way we felt. And in the cruel, twisted way that we will make math in our head of, have we suffered enough to atone for that guilt? There becomes the question of like, well, now that you've made this tapestry of all the pain and guilt that you've felt, do you think that you've suffered enough? Is this not enough for you to move on yet? It's kind of the core of the whole thing. The creating of the weaving itself is the core of the whole house. You go in there hurting and suffering, and the idea should be that you weave something that helps you understand what you've experienced and actually see it all at once. So yeah, this is a heavy house, y'all. I mean, they're all kind of heavy, but this one's the hard one, I think, because it's the ouchy one. We're already 6 cards into the suit. If you have been keeping count, there are 11 cards in each suit. There's hold on, is that how numbers work? Yeah, it is. The house, the 0, then the 1 through 7, then the denizen and the ruler. So we have 5, 6, and 7 left, then the denizen and the ruler. And I'm actually really excited because while this is the house of ouchies, to put it nicely, the denizen here is not here to hurt you. So I'm excited to see the Wound Stitcher. The Wound Stitcher, I feel like, is going to be a nice friend for us. So I'm excited to see what cards come in by next week. And if they don't, because Enoch's probably taking the week off, I will have other things to talk about. There's always more. So I hope that you have a lovely day. I hope that you have a really, really nice holiday week if you're doing that. I know that most places are. So take your time, spend some time with friends and family, chosen family, whatever you got. And we'll see you next week. Alrighty, friends. Ta-da.